Hello and welcome to the ultimate guide on getting your very first Tzuk cape. I hope you all enjoy and make sure to leave a comment with your clear time. Let's get into it. Before we begin, let's talk equipment. We are going to be using at least tier 80 tank necromancy armor for this, along with the weapons and an amulet of souls or essence of finality, cinderbane gloves, a god book to help damage. The Tzkal-zuk ring for that extra 10% damage, although it does not work on Tzuk, so bring a ring switch if you want. We will also use a kill cape, and lastly a vampirism aura. Next, we will be talking about familiars, and the one we will be using is the Hellhound, requiring 45 summoning. This familiar will allow us to get a 20% damage reduction, but it will take damage for us, meaning we will have to heal it with either Hellhound Scrolls or the Prism of Restoration spell. You may also pair this with the Aegis aura if you wish, instead of vampirism. And now for our inventory, we will be using the Ancient Elven Ritual Shard to heal prayer points and super restores, which will be used on Tzuk Wave. The Infernal Puzzle Box to save adrenaline, which you can add to Tool Belt after Sybil, worth 3 quests, Vulnerability Bombs, Overloads, and Lanadyme Incense Stick to boost duration of Overload, and finally Saradomin Brews and Rock Gels, or any solid food you like. I will put the prices for everything I am using on screen. Feel free to pause, but please note prices will change. We will now make our way to Tzuk and begin. Make sure to activate your Darkness Incantation, Overloads, and Penance Powder if you are using it. Then simply challenge Tzuk and use the safe spot I use. You are going to want to stay in the safe spot as much as possible, but when you are attacking over the wall, make sure you aren't too north or you will get run out of the safe spot. Once we reach wave 4, we will have our first igneous monsters. All we need to do to kill these is attack them with a stun to break their shield, then we can damage them. You can see their shield as a blue bar above their head. The stun we will be using is Soul Strike, as it is Necromancy's only stun ability. Once we have killed all the igneous monsters, we will then head over to Tzuk and build stacks on him before pressing out extra action button. You do not need to kill the other monsters after killing igneous mobs, but it's up to you. Once we have all the stacks, we are going to press our extra action button, then deal 50,000 damage to Tzuk. I suggest using weapon specs and Volley of Souls for this. Once we have dealt 50k damage, we are going to begin our first challenge wave, and don't worry, this is an easy one. All you are going to do is use Threads of Fate, then use Finger of Death twice, or use Finger of Death, then Volley of Souls. Whatever you have will do the job. You do not need to pass this wave, just survive. Once you have survived his wave, we are going to make our way to this safe spot to get ready for our first Jad, and I hope by now you know the rules with Jads. Before killing Jad, clear all the other mobs first. Once you have killed Jod, you are going to want to camp on protection prayers with the devotion ability to avoid taking so much damage. Once we make it to wave 9, we will have our second igneous mob. This is the Igneous Ranger, and all we need to do is a threshold ability for necromancy. This will be Blowed or Finger of Death. And once again, once you have killed the mobs, make your way to Tzkal-zuk and build stacks on him. We are going to want to build as many stacks as possible before doing our 50k damage, as we may want to cast a Living Death. Once we have built stacks, you can either Living Death before attacking him or just use your abilities, but I suggest Living Death for that extra damage. Once you have dealt 50k, we will start our second challenge wave, and all we need to do here is use our high damage abilities to kill the mob. Once we have survived this challenge, we are going back to this safe spot to get ready for another Jod. He will be on your side, kill him straight away. Once you have killed the Jod, you can then clear the mobs and then kill the second Jod, making sure you step out at an angle to avoid melee distance. You can then make your way back to the first safe spot using your devotion and protection prayers. Once we reach wave 14, we will encounter our last igneous mob. This will be the igneous mage, and all you must do is stand inside their shield to damage them.
Happy birthday to you, shining star, may your dreams come true. No matter how far you light up the room with your radiant glow. Oh, the world is lucky to have you. Don't you know you're kind, you're strong with a heart of gold. You brighten up life's to you we behold. Every step you take, catching everyone's eye. You're a beacon of love, let your spirit soar high. Your laughter is infectious, it fills the air with joy that's contagious. We all gladly share your presence, happiness overflows.
Once we have cleared the wave, we will make our way to Tzkal-zuk and build 100% adrenaline, as you will need 100% adrenaline to survive this challenge. To deal damage here, I am using Volley of Souls to save my adrenaline. If you have to do the wave again to deal damage, you should be fine. Once we have 100% adrenaline, we are going to begin dealing damage. Once the challenge wave starts, we are going to use a barricade, then use a resonance. You can also use a power burst of vitality. Once you survive the challenge, you want to run to your safe spot and get ready for triple jads and just do as I do. Once you have defeated your triple jads, you will now be facing Hurricane. You might not one-cycle him like I did, but all you need to do is wait for him to appear, then throw a Vuln Bomb, then invoke Death, and do as much DPS as possible. When fighting him, you want to keep an eye on the lava on the left and right of him. If you see it bubble, you are going to want to move a few tiles east or west. It isn't a lot of damage, but does drain adrenaline. And if you don't one-cycle him, you are going to see a message Hurricane is bombarding you, and the easiest way to get past this is just surge out the way. It will create a X shape in the arena. Once we have defeated Hurricane, we will be on to Tzkal-zuk the part I'm sure you're all here for. Firstly, going to pray melee and Vulnbomb him, making sure to stay in melee range. Then we are just going to deal damage until he says, "You will break beneath me," which you are going to want to freedom. Then he will say burn, reducing your max health, and all you need to do for this is cover tiles or tank it if you want, but always make sure to use super restores to get your max health back up. Next, he will slam his sword into the ground, and the moment his sword hits the ground, you want to surge and go back to dealing damage. After this mechanic, he will swing his sword 3 times. After the 3rd swing, you want to use a resonance. Next, he will swing his sword 4 times, and on the 4th swing, you want to use anticipation, then pray magic and click under Tzkal-zuk feet to run to the center. Then he will spawn the igneous mobs, so just do as I do and make sure to use food if you need to. If you timed the anticipation correctly, unlike me, you should start pizza phase under Tzkal-zuk feet. You then want to surge or dive into this section where we will face our first igneous, and all we want to do for this guy, if you remember, he needs to be stunned. Then we are going to want to kill him as fast as possible. I suggest high damage abilities after the stun. Once he is dead, move near the edge of the square and run under Tzkal-zuk, then surge to the next slice. For the next one, we will be using a threshold, so again, that's Finger of Death or Bloat. Then finally, the last one will be a mage, and we will just stand in his shield. Once the last igneous is dead, you want to click the extra action button. Before the bar above his head fills up, if it does before you press it, he will insta-kill you. This goes through a sign of life. We are now going to vuln him again and pre-melee and invoke death, repeating all the mechanics. The aim here is to get him down to 100,000 health as fast as possible, as when he reaches 100,000 health, he will restart his mechanics, meaning you can skip pizza phase. And once again, don't forget to keep using super restores and food if needed. Congratulations on your very first Tzkal cape. I know this isn't an easy fight, but I know with this guide, you can all do it easily. I believe in you guys. Thank you to everyone who watched till the end. Make sure to share the video and join the Discord for more, and we will be doing giveaways. Once we reach 40 members, you can also find my Twitch and Instagram there.